Hey guys, it's June 2021 and I purchased a VIVO 4-frame BEE-V004E extractor on Amazon for $400. I've heard they've made some updates, so I just wanted to run through a quick experience of what I did from an unboxing and an assembly process here from a pros cons perspective. If you guys like what you see, head into the video. I've got the whole thing documented here, so with that, let's jump in. From a cons perspective, we'll start out first. The first thing you do is open this up, and there's an instruction book that says this thing's dirty, clean it. They're not lying. There are metal shavings in here. There are just black grease kind of piled in there a little bit. I felt it with my fingers. It's nasty. Clean it out. When we talk about the welds for the legs, there are 2 bolt holes for each leg, and there's 3 spot welds for each of those. So you got 6 spot welds on one bolt, 6 on another, so 12 total spot welds. It felt a little flimsy, guys. That's all I'm getting at. I don't know if it'll hold or not. I've seen different videos where people actually have them re-welded on. We will see. I'm not entirely sure. These 90-degree bolts right here, they bolt straight into the side of the extractor. They 90 degree up, and that's what you sit your motor on top of. Not truly 90 degrees, guys. It was a pain in the back to be able to get this motor on and off of here, so we'll see how truly that adds up for us. There's a ball bearing. When I took the basket out to clean this thing, there's a ball bearing that this basket sits on top of, so know that's there. I wasn't paying any attention. I almost lost it. I heard it bounce around. The ball bearing actually stuck onto the side of the extractor because it was covered in that grease in there. So just know that ball bearing's there. There's a safety switch on here as well, so you can lift this open and the extractor stops working. This little metal tab here was bent at the wrong angle, so when I first put it together, the lid itself was sitting up about 1.5 inches off there. So easy fix. I just pulled the screw, bent it, you're back in business there. Final one would be the instructions. You might as well just throw them away, guys. Doesn't really give you a whole lot beyond like a packing list in there and some very generic how-to instructions in there. But honestly, guys, I mean, it's not that hard. There's 6 bolts for the legs in total, 12 screws for the lid in total. That's really it. Really wish it would have dove a little bit more into the operation, how to clean, some different stuff in there, but all good on that end. If we jump into the pros, when I got this thing assembled together, 100%, it's smooth, guys. This thing will run up, no wobble, no shake at all. I'm super happy with how smooth it is. It's balanced. That's the real key piece there. So we'll see what happens when we actually run some honey through it. Not entirely sure. It came with extra hardware too, guys. So it's got an extra plastic bushing in there. I've read a lot of reviews where they're saying that those are the first things to go, so we've got an extra one of those, which will be really nice and keep us in business there. A couple of extra bolts, screws, things like that, so I've got those in a plastic bag. You just saved them for later if I need them. The legs, I've also read on that. People have complained you haven't been able to fit 5-gallon buckets under there for the bottling process. That's been fixed. So the legs are now adjustable. I've tested it out. 5-gallon bucket will fit under there very nicely. So with that, guys, I'm super pleased with this. Couple of things, little modifications here and there. We'll see how it actually holds up, but for $400, I'd probably say an 8 out of 10 for this thing. We'll see how it goes, but with that, I appreciate you guys tuning in. Head on into the video and you can see the whole process here. Ring on there, which is good. So we got the seal that we need there, no big deal. If I can put this on. There we go. Hey guys, today we're going to do an unboxing video on the VIVO 4-frame extractor from Amazon. Bought it for $400. The thought here is that we can do 4 deep frames at a time or 8 medium frames at a time, depending on how you have them oriented. So we'll dig into this right now and we'll go ahead and pop it open. Now the first thing I want to call out here is that it did not ship this way. My 3-year-old got a hold of my hive tool inside of the garage and decided it'd be fun to use it as a hammer. So be interested to see how well it was packaged to see if we actually penetrated that at all or not. Warning statements, clean unit before use, manual, and it looks like a parts bag here. Got our legs there zip tied together. It looks like maybe powder coated in black. 3 of those with different height adjustments. So as we look down in here, you can see it's wrapped. A couple additional styrofoam pieces here. So there's just styrofoam padding inside of here around the edges, and a nice spot that it fits into. We'll go ahead and throw this off to the side. Here's the inside of the unit. So it comes with our top lid pieces. So the one thing I noticed just off bat cosmetically is that these bolt heads right here, they're a little angled. I'll call it the wrong angle. They got like a 10-degree tilt to them instead of that perfect just straight up and down. But I don't know if that's a big deal or not. It looks like just based on the inside, it should be pretty easy to fix. I don't know if that's just a manufacturing thing or they just come like that. The other interesting one to note here is it looks like each one of these leg pieces are, I guess what I would call like 3 tack welds, just spot welds. So I don't know how well these will actually hold up, but I also know that stainless steel is very difficult to weld on. So pretty interesting to see how they've got the leg profiles, but they're pretty consistent, which is a good thing. So consistency, I always appreciate that. So I just sorted the hardware bag. Honeygate looks good. It's got an O-ring on there, so that'll be nice to have. We've got 7 leg bolts. It says it comes with 6, so we got an extra one, which is nice. It's got 12 of these lid top screws. At least that's what it says it comes with. There's actually 15 here, so we got 3 extra. We've got an extra plastic bushing. I was reading on reviews, they say these wear out pretty quick, so nice to have an extra one of those. And then we got some stability bolts. Instructions, guys, I mean, it's pretty unclear, but at the same time, 6 bolts, 12 bolts should be pretty easy to put together. Just says screw your leg screws in. It kind of eludes you to use these here. And then it says you put your lid down, so it doesn't say anything about attaching it or anything. So like I said, though, it should be pretty straightforward. You guys ought to be able to figure this out. So let's go ahead and put this together. So as I said before, guys, it's got 2 different positioning heights. I'm going to go with the higher one. Hopefully that's enough to get a 5-gallon bucket under there with my Honeygate, so we can do that filter. These did come with lock washers, which are nice, so when it's spinning out, you don't have to hopefully worry about these coming back out, but we'll see. All right, guys, the moment of truth. I've read things where they said this does not sit high enough to be able to fit a 5-gallon bucket under there when we're doing the bottling and uncapping. So it looks like we're golden. They fixed that. We can get that under there, drop that honey right in. That's perfect. Just for example, this is what that's going to look like. It's just a little nut on the back. Yeah, 6 out of the 8 screws holding these on were loose, so make sure you go through and tighten those up. Pulling these apart, you can see there's like plastic. It's where they melted or something on here, so probably like I'd give this like an 8 out of 10 for quality here. There's some scratches already on it. You can see here, like already kind of dinged in. I don't really care about that. It's a honey extractor, but just not what you would expect. And we got us a visitor. All right, guys, so after some experimenting, I've got my lids on, but what we see is that with it closed, it's got a inch gap here or so. It comes up, there's a magnetic piece that holds it on here, which is great, but that inch gap is not exactly what I want to see there. So in order to fix this gap, I'm going to take the safety precautions off. And you can see it sits perfectly flat. So there is a safety button here where this will not operate unless this is shut and that button is pushed. So there's a metal piece here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get a pair of pliers and just bend it in ever so slightly, and I suspect that'll fix this problem. Oh, perfect. All right, guys, the idea for the 4 frame is that this would fit a deep, I'll look up mediums here, but the 8 frame, you put them centrifugal, I don't know what the right word is. But that just slips in there, and then you could do 8 frames of those. And I think the idea with the, when it's this way is we don't actually have to flip them at all because the force is all going this way, so that honey just rolls right out. Where if you were to do the deep frames, you would have to take them out halfway through and flip them over like that. Hey guys, so I thought I was done, but that paper did say clean thoroughly, and I think I figured out why. First wipe here, I haven't actually dug in, but I lost a nut down there, and when I went to find it, very greasy. So if you look at that's just the first wipe of the bottom there. Very, very nasty in there. Now what I noticed was there's actually a ball bearing that sits down inside of here, and I about lost that, so I got that in the bag now. But I think I'm gonna have to get some food grade grease for this, so I'm gonna go ahead and do some Dawn dish soap, some hot water, get this thing cleaned out and ready to go, but wanted to point that out. All right guys, the long and the short of it here is make sure you get this thing cleaned up. I almost call this like shoddy craftsmanship, but for an extractor this size at this price, I think you kind of get what you pay for, and I'm okay with that, only having 8 hives. If I was doing quite a bit more than that, maybe it'd be a different story.